Welcome to the selected ones. When you are uncommon, you are either revered or pursued. Now let it sink in. Because, selected ones, let us speak the truth. Nobody else is courageous enough to say it. Everyone wants a piece of you. Most people, however, would be unable to tolerate your presence. You enter rooms and don't just move the energy. You demolish illusions. When people meet you, they get an old vibe. And no, it is not heartburn. Spiritual heart surgery in real time. Here is a fact that will screw with your brain. According to studies, people are instinctively attracted to persons who exemplify genuineness, but they also unconsciously dislike them. Why? Because you reveal everything they are attempting to be. You are not the sort to blend in, play small, or dim your brightness in order to make insecure others feel comfortable. You were not picked to be loved. You were picked for awakening. And, believe me, awakenings are seldom uniformly welcome. Ask any historical prophet, rebel, or visionary. Oh wait, you can't. The majority of them were misunderstood, expelled, or worse. So, why do people desire you? Why do people circle your energies like moths to a flame, only to claim you burnt them when they go too close? Because you symbolize something that the world cannot make. Authentic power that was not acquired, taught, or filtered via a popular aesthetic. You are the genuine thing. Here's the kicker. You are not for everyone, and you were never meant to be. But this isn't a weakness. It is proof that you were picked. So buckle up, because what follows will explain why others covet your presence, envy your peace, and continue to attempt to play in your orbit despite the fact that they are not made for your gravity. And if it hurts a bit, that implies it's effective. Let's get to it. Number 1, you awaken people's unresolved selves. That is why people simultaneously desire and loathe you. You don't just stroll into a room. You are the one who disturbs it. Not by force, not by saying anything, but by being completely, unabashedly yourself. That vitality you carry, it does not merely shine, it discloses. And that is precisely why so many people are attracted to you, yet feel curiously uneasy when they approach too near. They can't explain it, but something about you makes them feel vulnerable. That's because you're a mirror. But, unlike the attractive variety, which conceals imperfections, you mirror everything raw, true, and unresolved. People don't know it, but they aren't really falling for you. They are drawn to you because of how you make them feel. There's a weightlessness, clarity, and high-frequency truth that follows you about like a shadow. It makes individuals feel as if they had touched something pure. But purity requires something in exchange. It needs honesty. Most people are unprepared for that phase. So, instead of recognizing that they are insecure, inspired, or rocked by your light, they project. They say you are frightening, arrogant, and mysterious. Too deep. But the fact is, you're simply forcing them to confront aspects of themselves that they've been avoiding for years. They want your peace, but cannot bear the cost of the battle that brought it about. They want your strength, not the tale behind it. When they discover they can't just steal your essence without being altered by it, they withdraw. Sometimes in silence, sometimes with drama, but always with a sense of perplexity since they felt they were ready for someone like you, but didn't realize the cost of closeness would be self-awareness. This is why so many people desire you, but only a few can retain you. You were not brought here to make people feel comfortable. You were sent to reawaken something. That awakening causes strain. It is accompanied with resistance, but it also contains truth and truth. When it enters a room, wearing your face is both captivating and frightening. Number 2, you are evidence that they had the opportunity to heal but chose comfort instead. People respect your strength, clarity, and healing energy, but they forget the expense of getting there. They see the peace in your eyes today, but they were not present when they were full with tears. They hailed your progress, but they didn't see you breaking the stillness or dragging yourself through anguish. No one assisted you in carrying. You didn't just wake up wise. You bled for that knowledge. And now that you've made it to the other side, they behave as if you were always so grounded and confident in yourself. It is easier for them to forget your trip because it reminds them of the one they never took. They want to soak up your tranquility like it's a spa treatment, but they're not ready to confront the storms you faced alone. You choose to do the work, to confront the harsh facts, to sit in quiet, and to cope with your trauma without using it as a weapon or a personality. And that's what distinguishes you from them. You did not get here by chance or good fortune. You arrived here because you were willing to feel everything. And when it would have been simpler to numb out, lash out, or blame the world, you confronted yourself and did something scary. You changed. You're not strolling around feeling healed and entire because life has given you a soft route. Regardless of the harm, you continue to stroll about like that. That makes some individuals uneasy since your growth reminds them that they might have made a different decision. They could have worked harder, but they chose to settle. They remained in survival mode, surrounded by diversions and excuses. Now you stroll into rooms in your presence, softly saying, "Healing is possible. You just didn't want it strongly enough." That's the bit they don't say out loud, but you can sense it. That tension, that subtle hatred disguised as adoration. They want what you have, not who you have to become to get it. And that is precisely why you were picked. Not simply to survive, but to become what others were frightened to confront. Number 3, they want to eat the fruit, but not sow the seeds. People adore the side of you that shines. They appreciate your power, enthusiasm, and the way you can light up a room just by being there. They appear when the fruit is ripe, when the confidence is loud, the radiance is visible, and the tranquility is apparent. But where were they throughout the seasons you planted? Where were they when you were buried? Deep and quiet. Isolation promotes healing. Praying through nights that never seem to end. They want to celebrate your flowering, but they fled as you were breaking. Most individuals do not want the whole truth. They want a highlight reel. They want to see your healed, higher self without knowing how you got there. You went through an emotional winter. They never saw. You sobbed over betrayals that they had no idea about. You had to learn limits through suffering, trust, heartache, strength, and complete breakdown. You weren't just growing. You were living silently, miserably, and without a cheerleading squad. They behave as if they've always been on your side now that you've matured and walk with purpose and wisdom. However, they are aware that they did not water your soil. They did not check in while you were down. They did not turn up when you had nothing to offer. Because of this, they do not deserve the harvest. Some of them believe they are entitled to your energy just because they have been there for the most of the time. But this isn't how it works. The fruits of your life were never free. It came at the expense of fights waged in the dark, of mending in quiet, of losing everyone yet choosing to rise. So now, when others attempt to harvest what they didn't sow, you perceive it for what it is, not as support, not love. It's just entitlement disguised. And you're no longer the version of yourself that gives up everything in order to be noticed. You're holy land now, and sacred land does not allow anybody to come and pluck the fruit. Number 4, you are a frequency, not a personality. Most cannot manage the bandwidth. You're not only a person with distinct characteristics or peculiarities. You are a live frequency, an energy signal that functions at a wavelength that most people are not designed to manage. This frequency does not appear silently. It challenges the current quo in the minds of people around you. When you enter a room, you don't just bring your personality. You introduce an unseen force that shakes their carefully crafted perception of reality. Their egos quiver, their masks shake, and they're content. Illusions begin to disintegrate before they even realize why they are not being rejected personally. What is really occurring is that their neurological systems are responding to your energy. Their bodies, brains, and souls aren't used to someone speaking the naked, unadulterated truth. You are listening into a channel of genuine beauty and understanding, but most people are still emotionally and spiritually unable to accept, and their systems are incapable of handling such high levels of intensity. They push back, sometimes forcefully, sometimes by distancing themselves, but always for their own safety. This is why many people who attempt to connect with you describe you as too intense or unapproachable. They don't say it directly, but it's a coping technique for the pain your presence causes. Your frequency requires complete presence, honesty, and responsibility. And anybody who is accustomed to live in denial or diversion would find it difficult to meet such demands. In reality, you are not here to dull your light or reduce your vibration in order to make others comfortable. Your frequency represents your strength, truth, and holy signature. Those who cannot manage the bandwidth are not intended to be near, since you are more than simply a personality to be loved. You are an energetic force that affects everything around you. And this is precisely why you were picked. Number 5. They want you to be a mirror, but only if it serves their illusions. People want you to be their mirror, but only the sort that reflects what they want to see. They come to you for warmth, affirmation, and soft reflections to heal their egos. They want you to nod, agree, and make them feel like they're enough despite their shortcomings. But when you step out of that position and begin reflecting truth rather than comfort, everything changes. Suddenly you become too challenging or intense. They describe you as the problem, but the true issue is that you no longer allow them to live in their own fantasies. You were not designed to soothe injured egos. You were not created to make things safe or simple. Your goal is clarity, not comfort. You are holding a mirror that does not lie or soften edges. You show them what they won't acknowledge, even to themselves. And that type of contemplation poses a challenge to a civilization accustomed to self-deception, denial, and half-truths. When you cast a light on what is concealed, it causes fear and resistance. People would prefer live in a cozy fiction than confront the unpleasant reality. So they either push back, separate themselves, or assault your character. Anything to escape the pain you cause. But here is the reality. Nobody likes to confess you're the upheaval they secretly want. You are the spark that sparks waking, even if it is fraught with stress. You are not here to make others happy all the time. You are here to make them see. And sometimes seeing is difficult, but it is vital. So continue to reflect the truth unabashedly, even if it means being labeled too much. Because clarity, no matter how unpleasant it may be, is the only way to true change. Number 6. You are who they appear to be on social media. Everyone else is busy creating an image of themselves for the public to see. The ideal position, the filtered grin, the carefully selected words that express just enough without revealing anything. They cultivate what seems to be sincerity, but it's all a staged act to influence how others perceive them. Meanwhile, you don't need a stage or a script, since you are the genuine deal. Your genuineness is not something you turn on for the camera or adjust for acceptance. It is a fundamental aspect of your personality. That raw, uncensored energy you exude makes people uncomfortable in ways they can't articulate. It's as if you've taken off their masks without trying, exposing the flaws in the actions they've been hiding behind. Their carefully crafted identities now seem unstable, which makes them apprehensive. Your presence challenges more than just their image. It makes their filters and facades seem meaningless. You aren't a character they can manage or a version they can outperform, since your essence isn't a show. It is a force. They understand that they cannot pretend to be who you are. They feel a truth in you that is difficult to replicate. No matter how many selfies or posts they generate, the reality bothers them. It jeopardizes the safety of their performance, as well as the illusion they've worked so hard to create. So others will adore you covertly, hoping that some of your authenticity rubs off. Others will push away. The reflection made me feel threatened. You hold up without apologizing. You represent the unvarnished truth in a society enamored with manicured illusions. This is why you will never fit neatly into their boxes or expectations. You're not simply a person. You represent a revolt against everything that is phony. As a result, you are simultaneously magnetic and untouchable. Number 7. They want access to the glory, but not the glory. Everyone wants to bask in your glow, to be seen standing beside your prosperity, confidence, and serenity. They desire the benefits of your advancement without considering the cost you paid to get there. They appear while you're winning, celebrating your accomplishments as if they were their own. However, you were stuck in the darkness, battling, questioning, and waging battles that no one could see. The same folks were nowhere to be seen. They were not there for the sleepless nights, the quiet tears, or the times when you felt entirely shattered and invisible. They want glory without the splendor. They want to celebrate your victory without understanding what wounds it left behind. However, growth is not a highlight reel. It's dirty, difficult, and often lonely. You did not just wake up golden. You had to be fashioned in the fire. Your soul was shattered, wounded, and remade in the quiet. Most individuals avoid or disregard the process because it is difficult, raw, and demanding. Those who abandoned you in those difficult times do not deserve a place at your table today. They want to take the crown, yet they didn't assist you bear the burden when it counted the most. You've learned to guard your energy, to discern who showed up in the dark and who only appeared when the sun shone. The truth is genuine. Support is more than simply cheers on the sidelines. It's standing behind you in the trenches when no one else would. Your crown is not for everyone. And that is precisely how things should be. Only those who endured the storm earn the right to see your brightness. Allow anybody else to view from a distance as you wear what you've earned. Raw, authentic, and unabashedly yours. Number 8. Your spirit bears codes that are not intended for the people. You were not brought here to gain popularity or favor from the people. Your purpose isn't about popularity or conforming to someone else's model. You were delivered with precision, much like a signal tailored for a particular receiver. Your spirit contains encrypted codes, knowledge, energy, and truth that are not intended for everyone. They're intended to awaken, confront, and alter certain souls who are willing to accept them. As a result, your presence naturally repels the crowd that seeks immediate comfort or surface-level interactions. You're not supposed to be everyone's favorite or the star of the party. Instead, your energy functions as a filter, filtering the noise from the truth searchers. It repels diversions, superficial partnerships, and people who merely want to scratch the surface. However, for the select few who tune into your frequency, your spirit ignites a fire. You unlocked previously dormant elements of their psyche. You unlock potential and awaken destiny that others are unaware of. This explains why you often feel alienated or misunderstood. It's neither a flaw nor a curse. It's the inevitable outcome of serving a goal that necessitates a greater degree of resonance. You are not here to satisfy everyone, and you are not designed to fit in. Your codes are too complex, holy, and powerful for the general public. So don't spend your efforts trying to please everyone. Your effect comes from the few people whose lives you genuinely touch, the ones that realize the heavenly technology that you possess. Those relationships are uncommon, yet they are the most important because the mission you are on is not about numbers. It's about quality, depth, and precision. And that is why you were picked to carry what others cannot, to reach those who would not, and to alter what others have yet to see. Number 9. Your worth is inexplicable to people who are obsessed with performance. People who believe in performance-based self-worth cannot grasp what you contribute to the table. Their whole sense of worth is based on how they seem, what they accomplish, and how others interpret their activities. They're in a never-ending quest to prove themselves, trying to get love, respect, or attention by ticking boxes or acting out roles. But you don't work in that manner. You do not need to perform in front of the press or create an image to verify your existence. You live your life in the present moment, a strong state of just being. Your worth is not determined by what you do or achieve, but by who you are at your heart. This type of essence cannot be quantified by likes, titles, or awards since it resides outside of them. It's felt, not seen. It is energy, not entertainment. And in a culture concerned with identity as a commodity to be sold or consumed, you seem to be an unsolvable riddle to those hooked to performance. They attempt to pin you down, box you in, or push you into their system of value. But it never fits because your strength lies in your sincerity, calmness, and reluctance to seek external affirmation. You don't need applause to realize you're enough. You don't have to prove anything to prove everything, which intimidates and confuses many people since it threatens their whole worldview. They cannot comprehend a value that is not acquired via work or performance, but it is your hidden power. You remind the world that there is a deeper way to exist, one in which being means more than doing, where presence exceeds performance, and genuine value is something you embody rather than something you have to achieve. And that is precisely why you were picked. Number 10. They want your energy, not your limits. People don't really adore you. They like the vitality you bring to their life. They desire your brightness, optimism, power, and the way you make things seem better just by being there. But here's the catch. They want that energy on their terms and when they want it, without any limitations. The moment you begin establishing limits and saying no, protecting your space, they get unpleasant as you guard your time. You're suddenly called cold, distant, or inaccessible, as if having self-respect is a personal fault. What they don't realize is that your limits aren't walls designed to keep people out. They are the barriers that prevent your essence from being sucked by empty hands. You've learned that your energy is valuable and should not be squandered on people who don't appreciate or repay it. When you say no, you are not rejecting someone. You are rejecting the abuse of your soul's cash. They might easily claim that you've changed or that you don't care enough. But, in truth, you've merely matured enough to recognize who merits your attention and who does not. You're no longer pouring from an empty cup to make others comfortable. Your limits are most evident when you declare, "I am valued. I am not here to be taken for granted." This fact is shocking because it requires respect, not just adulation. And many people are not prepared for that degree of responsibility. They want your energy free from obligation. But you know better now. Your essence is not a free banquet, and your limits determine who may feast and who must go without. That is not chilly. That is clarity. And that is precisely why you were picked. A number. Wounds do not cause people to connect. You form a link via alignment. Most people believe that connection comes from sharing wounds, telling tales of grief and struggle, and connecting over scars and shattered pieces. It's like a club where everyone has a badge of suffering, and that shared pain serves as the glue that holds connections together. But that is not how you work. Your ties are not created amid the ruins of suffering. They are formed in the purity of harmony. You crave interactions that are spiritual, purposeful, and truly meaningful. It's not about comparing one's scars or commiserating over prior suffering. It's about identifying when energies align, when spirits communicate in the same language. And there is an implicit understanding that this partnership is intended to empower, extend, and align with your greatest truth. If it doesn't feel divine, or if it doesn't provide calm, clarity, or progress, it just doesn't remain in your life. This makes you seem scary to many, not because you're unlovable or distant, but because you won't settle for superficial closeness masquerading as genuine connection. You don't have time for relationships built on dysfunction or pain cycles. You don't connect with drama or emotional upheaval disguised as intimacy. Your relationships need sincerity, purpose, and a spiritual connection that extends beyond shared tales of injured individuals who only know trauma bonding. People often misinterpret your high standards for coldness or aloofness. But basically, you're refusing to compromise connection by accepting anything less than soul-level harmony. That is not cruel. It is sacrosanct. And this is precisely why you were picked. Because you understand the importance of genuine connection, the type that not only endures but transcends grief. You are a soul, not a social technique. You are not a marketing campaign or viral trend that can be cracked and imitated. You are a soul, a living, breathing force that acts on a far deeper level than the shallow games that most people play. You do not shape yourself to fit into scenes, cliques, or social norms. Instead, you are the scene, a presence so unique and deep that it defies any effort to box you in while others pursue followers, likes, and transient praise. Your spirit moves differently. It does not worry about aesthetics or popularity contests. You're not concerned with creating the ideal image or constructing a brand. Instead, you're interested in making religious altars rather than algorithms. Your energy encourages others to stop, contemplate, and connect on a deeper level, rather than simply scrolling and consuming. This makes you a mystery to people who follow trends and methods. They attempt to decipher you using their restricted playbook. However, your frequency corresponds to a completely other wavelength. You confuse them by refusing to be reduced to a formula or approach. You are not here to be seen through the prism of social media stats or cultural trends. You exist beyond all the noise, rooted in eternal truth and spiritual depth. Your essence is not something to promote or imitate. It is something to be experienced. And that is why you were picked to remind the world that certain souls were created for the calling rather than the herd. You are a soul, not a social technique. A number. You upset their comfort zones without saying anything. Your very presence represents a quiet revolution. You don't have to say anything for others to feel uneasy around you. You possess an energy that exposes the fissures in their comfort zones, shedding light on aspects of themselves that they'd rather ignore. You do not come with accusations or fights, but your presence encourages people to wake up and accept responsibility for their own spiritual development. For many, it is too much to bear. Instead of rising to the challenge, they choose the easy way, avoiding the mirror you hold up. They'd rather walk away, talk, or make up tales about you than face the difficult facts that your presence elicits inside them. You interrupt their complacency without raising your voice, which makes you both strong and intimidating. It's not about being combative in the typical way. It is about embodying a degree of awareness and integrity that naturally rejects stagnation. You are constructed on truth, from a place that cannot be ignored. And when people witness your clarity, they are compelled to confront the aspects of themselves that aren't living up to their potential. So, although they may gossip behind your back or attempt to disparage you, this is only a protection strategy. They're afraid of the mirror you hold because it reveals what they don't want to see. This is why they avoid you. Not because you did anything bad, but because your life requires honesty and progress. Most people are not prepared for this. And that is precisely why you were picked to be the spark that shakes the foundation. Even when no words are spoken, you are not for everyone since you were sent for the remnant. You're not here to satisfy the masses or blend in with the background hum of society. You're a force designed for a very particular purpose and group. The residue. This residue is not about quantity or popularity. It is about quality, depth, and preparedness. These are the few who have the bravery to confront the truth without fear, the eyes to see through illusions, and the hearts to awaken to what others ignore or reject. You act like a spiritual assassin, cutting through lies, exposing falsehoods, and presenting the truth with accuracy. That kind of position is not intended to be loved by everyone. In truth, it is almost difficult to be loved by the majority. When you want to shatter people's cozy illusions. That's why so many people desire you. They feel your strength, your brightness, and the unquestionable energy you possess. However, they are not always prepared or eager to meet you at your level. Only the aligned, awakened, and bold can actually make room for you. These are the people that don't mind when you tell them the unpleasant truth. They do not flee when you question the existing quo. They connect with your frequency because, like you, they want to break free from falsehood and embrace true power. Your worth does not lie in being accepted by everyone. It's about being necessary to the few people who understand what you provide and why you exist. You were coded with a deep and unique purpose. They are attempting to appeal to everyone, which will diminish your authority. You were not created for the masses. You were tasked with retrieving the remainder. And that is precisely why you were picked. Because the world needs you, where it hurts the most, not where it is comfy. Absolutely. Here is a lengthier, more complex, and powerful ending that draws everything together with clarity, emotional depth, and a deep spiritual effect. Let this be the loud, irrefutable proof you've been looking for. You're not for everyone. And this is not a defect. It's a divine signature. You were never supposed to fade into the background or become a watered-down version of yourself in order to be accepted. You were born with a fire frequency and a purpose that only a select few will perceive, resonate with, and rise to fulfill. They wanted your brightness, not your reality. They wanted your energy, but rejected your limits. They admired your power until they discovered they couldn't manage it. And through it all, you stayed. You kept your heart open, your spirit strong, and your expectations high. That is not ego. That is spiritual perfection. You destabilize false comfort. You face delusions without saying. Your presence alone reveals others' spiritual lethargy. And this is why they sometimes walk away. Let them. You're not here to feed egos or embellish someone else's fantasies. You are here to awaken spirits, ignite truth, and create something that cannot be counterfeit. Real connection, divine harmony, and everlasting purpose. The chosen ones are not here to be liked by the majority. You were tasked with finding the residue. The ones who do not need you to shrink, to feel huge, who do not fear your light since they have their own. These are the people who will hear your voice and have their spirits stirred. And they are the only ones who really matter. So, no, you are not for everyone, but you are everything to the people you are assigned to. And it is more powerful than being loved by everyone. Keep glowing. Keep walking. Continue to be precisely who you are, without apology, dilution, or compromise. Because your presence does not constitute a performance. It's a call. And anybody who can't handle it was never supposed to. Period. If you found this message meaningful, please share it with others. Click the subscribe button to join a community of awakened souls traveling this road together. Like the video to show your support and assist other chosen ones discover this truth. Leave a comment below. Share your opinions and experiences, or just say hi. And if you know anybody who needs to hear this, please share it with them. Together, we rise, awaken, and shine brighter than before. God bless you.